All right, guys, it seems like most of the people have joined. Okay, so let's start the session. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to today's webinar. I'm Varun Gill, Marketing Manager at G3S Sustainability Corporation, and I'll be your host and moderator for today's session. First of all, thank you to everyone who has taken time to join us today. We have participants joining us from different organizations, industries, regions, and professional backgrounds. And we're really excited to have you with us. So today's session is going to be highly practical and focused on understanding how organizations can navigate the rapidly evolving ESG and climate landscape and use technology to make better sustainability decisions. Before we begin, let me briefly walk you through what we are going to cover today. Our topic for today's session is ESG and climate intelligence platform from reporting to decision making. We have structured today's session around two key modules. The first one is climate and ESG laws and regulations. Here we will begin by briefly looking at the prevailing climate and ESG laws, regulations, frameworks, and requirements that organizations are increasingly expected to understand and comply with. We will look at how the regulatory landscape is evolving and why organizations needs to stay ahead of these changes rather than simply responding to them after they come into effect. And the module two, we will cover live demo of the G3S ESG and climate tech platform. You will get a live demonstration of the G3S and climate tech platform to see how digital technology can help organizations manage sustainability data, assesses ESG performance, and support climate related decision making. And the third module, finally, we will have an interactive Q&A session. So please be ready with your questions throughout the session. You can post your questions in the chat, and towards the end, we will try to cover as many of them as possible with our speakers. So with that, let's get started. Before we begin, let me take a moment to introduce G3S Sustainability Corporation. So for anyone meeting us for the first time, a quick intro. We are G3S Sustainability Corporation. We provide AI-powered software solutions designed to automate carbon accounting, track enterprise ESG performance, and conduct climate risk assessment. And honestly, our whole philosophy comes down to one line: building intelligence into every system. What that means in plain terms, we help companies take messy, scattered sustainability data and turn it into something people can actually use to make decisions. Our objective is simple: to make sustainability more measurable, more actionable, and more accessible for organizations. And that brings us perfectly to today's topic. Now, let me introduce the distinguished speakers who will be joining us today. It is my pleasure to welcome and introduce Mr. Antonios Volaudes, Senior Director of Sustainability and Stewardship at New York University, Abu Dhabi, as our special guest speaker. Mr. Antonios leads the development and implementation of New York University Abu Dhabi's strategic climate action plan, focusing on measuring emissions and setting measurable targets for climate action. With extensive experience across sustainability, energy management, and Abu Dhabi's government initiatives, he brings valuable expertise to today's discussion. Now, I would like to welcome and introduce Mr. Satyapal Singh, founder and CEO of G3S Sustainability Corporation. Mr. Singh is the founder and CEO of G3S Sustainability Corporation and has extensive experience across sustainability, environmental engineering, energy, and technology. He has been driving the vision of combining sustainability expertise with innovative digital solutions. Let's begin with the session now. Mr. Antonios, we are truly delighted to have you with us today. Thank you for accepting our invitation and taking the time to share your experience and perspective with our audience. Mr. Antonios, over to you.
Mr. Varun, thank you so much. First of all, can you see me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can see you.
Excellent. Thank you so much to yourself and my good friend, Mr.
Pleasure.
Satyapal, for the invite. It's always a pleasure to participate in such important discussions. I'm happy to be part of this today's session. I'm broadcasting from my hometown in Greece. I'm currently on annual leave, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. Hence, I'm a little bit more casual than Mr. Satyapal. I hope you can forgive me for that. But thank you for the time. I'll jump into the topic straight ahead. Give me one moment because I'm broadcasting from my iPad, so things are a little bit more difficult. So, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks to GE3S for organizing this. For today's session, I would like, first of all, to start by connecting three developments that are often discussed separately: the Paris Agreement, the UAE's climate law, and the European Union's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, as we call it. Together, those show how climate action is moving from international ambition to national accountability and to commercial consequence. First of all, the Paris Agreement. As we all know, it is not a corporate reporting standard. It establishes the direction of travel. What is important is we need to keep warming well below 2 degrees Celsius and pursue efforts towards 1.5 degrees, if possible. Although, as we very well know, we might already have crossed that border. We need to strengthen adaptation. We need to align finance with low emissions and climate resilient development. Countries must submit progressively stronger national determined contributions, NDCs, as we know them, every 5 years. For organizations, the practical message is very simple. Climate policy, disclosure expectations, and sector requirements are designed to tighten over time. A system built only for today's questionnaire will quickly become obsolete. Second, in the UAE, the country has translated that direction into domestic governance through the very well-known now Federal Decree Law number 11 of 2024, which is governing the reduction of climate change effects. The law creates a framework for mitigation, adaptation, emissions management, and the so-called MRV, measurement, reporting, and verification. For covered sources, the expectation is no longer simply to publish a sustainability narrative. We're well past that. It is to know where emissions arise, apply consistent methods, retain traceable evidence, support reduction measures, and consider resilience to climate impacts. That is an important shift from voluntary communications towards accountable management. The UAE's national MRV system reinforces this direction by creating a more consistent base of emissions information across sectors. The significance is larger than reporting efficiency. When emissions data becomes accurate, current, and comparable, it becomes part of national economic infrastructure. It can support policy, investment, operational improvement, and progress towards the country's goal for net zero by 2050. Third, CBAM turns embedded action into trade and cost issue. It began on the 1st of January of this year and initially covered cement, iron and steel, aluminum, fertilizers, electricity, and hydrogen. EU importers above the applicable threshold must declare embedded emissions and surrender certificates whose price is linked to the EU emissions trading system with an adjustment where a carbon price has already been paid in the country of production. Now, even when the direct legal obligation sits with the importer, the data request travels upstream. Producers and suppliers are increasingly being asked for product-level emissions that are consistent, verifiable, and available on time. For UAE businesses connected to European value chains, carbon data quality can therefore affect customer confidence, market access, and of course, margin. To close my initial remarks, I would like to leave three practical implications. First, carbon data is becoming economic data. Second, one governed data backbone is more valuable than a collection of separate compliance spreadsheets. And third, compliance should be the floor, not the finish line. If the same evidence used for reporting also guides energy investment, procurement, supplier engagement, and asset resilience, the cost of compliance becomes an organizational capability. The key question is no longer only, can we produce the report? It is, can a decision maker see the hotspot, the business impacts, the accountable owner, and the next action? That is the bridge for reporting to climate intelligence. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Varun, for the rest of the session.
Thank you, Mr. Antonios, for those valuable insights and for helping us understand the broader sustainability and ESG landscape. So, before we move forward, I'd like to ask you one question based on what you've just shared. What are some of the practical challenges UAE-based organizations may face when translating climate regulations into internal policies, processes, and measurable outcomes? Over to you, Mr. Antonius. What do you think?
Can you kindly repeat the question because I missed the last part? I believe I might have also a little bit of a bad connection. If you can repeat it very quickly, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I asked, what are some of the practical challenges UAE-based organizations may face when translating climate regulations into internal policies, processes, and measurable outcomes? What is your opinion on that?
Thank you. This is a challenge also we face at NYU Abu Dhabi. It's always um, an issue that needs to be looked at, first of all, from a leadership perspective. For me, it is very important, first of all, that the decision is made at the higher end of the organization so that with the leadership's support and making sure, for example, that we no longer look into this issue as only compliance from a compliance standpoint, but understanding what sustainability can offer in an organization from that standpoint by making those decisions and understanding how sustainability can be embedded and become part of an organization's key strategy. Only then and after that, within an organization, decisions can be made, and from there, we can build and create those opportunities. Not only again by looking into, for example, the UA climate law on the MRV, just as another, for example, approval that we need to obtain, but how we can create efficiencies and how we can see, for example, even the dollar or the dirham amount behind any initiative that we are about to embark on. One of the biggest challenges that I faced in my career is convincing, for example, senior leadership about the value around sustainability and looking into, for example, into the broader life cycle on any investment that we make. And by creating that understanding, establishing that basic logic behind any initiative that an organization should be looking at, regardless if it's energy, water, waste, or other scope 1 and 2 or 3 emissions, only then you can start looking into a more medium to long term strategy, start making decisions, start creating those baselines, and from there build a longer term strategy. We need to start from somewhere. This is always key. And sometimes, even if, for example, a 50% reduction or a carbon neutrality, similar to a goal, for example, that we have at NYU Abu Dhabi, might seem distant, step by step, we can start building the strategies. And sometimes I think it starts from the top and creating that consensus, if I might say. It's always the trickiest part. That's my view.
Well, thank you, Mr. Antonios. That's a very valuable perspective. And I'm sure many of our sustainability professionals and organizations joining us today will take that advice on board. I think that's also sets the perfect context for the next part of our session, where Mr. Singh will help us move from understanding the evolving climate and ESG landscape to looking at how technology can help organizations to respond to it. Mr. Singh, I'll now hand over the session to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, evening with respect to time zone. And thank you everyone for joining this wonderful sessions on ESG and climate tech platform, data to decision making. And thanks a lot, Anthony, for accepting this webinar events. We are pleasure to have you on in this event and everyone also as part of this webinar session. So great. So we covered like when we talk about the climate related issues, like okay, there are the regulatory framework which are driving at the global levels, and then we talk at the global level, ESG and climate tech, in the two segment that sustainability related. you can say the KPIs are derivative of, we can talk in terms of the UN SDGs, which have been the global driver for the national level development of the any framework or even at the corporate level. And more recently, if we see the Paris Climate Agreement is the driver for the climate related actions at the global as well as the national level. So having said that, these two global uh, actions are the foundation for the framework. Then there are the various framework at the national and international level, and that's where many of the organizations today are also having bit of the ambiguity. Let us say also in this way, because the for the industry, data point is the same, but then they have to report for the different framework the same information. And I would just like to segregate this in the three categories. One is like uh, how the framework shaping the reporting. So as we come across the GRI, which is the most widely used standard for the ESG and sustainability reporting, this is more on the side of if we talk like more of focus on long-term sustainability and stakeholder-oriented approach. Whereas the SASP, like which is another also the framework, which is more on the investor focus and industry specific standard. ISSP, which is again which is having the two part IFRS 1 and IFRS 2, sustainability related financial information and climate related financial information. Then CDP, which is the another you can say framework. Then we have the ISO standard IWA 48, which is again for the ESG standard, and then TCFD, which is right now incorporated under the IFRS 2. So when we look like, okay, these are the voluntary standard, but then in parallel to that, then there are also the mandatory framework in the sustainability domain. And these are in the region specific. Let's say when we talk in the Europe, like we have the CSRD, which make mandate to the companies which are having the certain value of revenue in years and number of employee. Based on that, the companies are required to report in line with the CSRD. Then in India, we have VRS, VRSR. Then in UAE, we do have the ADX. In KSA, we have Tawul. In Oman, like similar, and so on and so forth. So now several frameworks are like you can say the country specific, but then there are the global framework. Like when we talk about the GRI and SASB, which have been the most widely adopted standards framework by the global company. So having said that, then we do have also then accounting standards. Okay, so we come across with the GHG protocol, ISO 14064, SBTI, then UNEP Triple C and IPCC emission factor. So all these are like posing like information in the different standards. Probably like all are aligning to Paris Climate Agreement at this point of time and also to SDGs. But it was also quite complex situation to the organization that how to tackle this data. The organization start ESG and carbon reporting, and then they find that which standard to follow, like okay, and these standards are based on the stakeholders requirement or investors requirement or the regulatory framework. Reporting is the one aspect. Now the organizations are also looking that once we report uh, the ESG data, I need to compare this data with the global or the peer companies, and then we do have the rating. So we come across with the MSCI rating, then S&P rating, EcoVadis, Bloomberg rating, and so on and so forth. So with so many framework, standards, protocols, companies are facing enormous pressure to handle the data and reporting accuracy within the time frame. And this process is not only time consuming, but also sometimes leads with the anomalies, okay, which is reported in subsequent year. And that's where we are coming in today in the session. That's where the G3S come into the picture with full suite compromising or comprising the multi-framework ESG and climate reporting, carbon accounting, climate risk assessment, life cycle assessment, and the ESG rating within the single suite, like the same data which is connected with the platform, and you are able to generate all these reporting based on your selected framework and standards. And what we are saying through the platform, the what it takes the 6 months, now we are saying that this is 1 hour job for you now. Actually, we connect your data, and then all this data is turned into reporting, and then reporting to the decision making. So that's where we are today. And now over to my colleagues to share the live demo that how we help the company to automatically generate all these reports and also do the all accounting and risk assessment, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for those valuable insights. Before we move forward, the live to the live demonstration, I'd like to ask you one question. How do you see the dashboard as a management interface, and what potential do you see for it beyond simply monitoring and reporting?
Thank you, Varun, for this question. So, dashboard, definitely one side it is offering the compliance related requirement, which is even increasing day by day under the different framework. So you have the multi framework reporting under the same platform. And second is that the work which is typically done by the consultant and it takes like months, and now you are having that in an hours, like okay, then even that cost also is reduced, like okay. And third, all the information is on your fingers. And last but not least, you can also predict the different scenarios and project it, and that's what like okay to offer, so you can get to know in advance how my company's emission will look like in future, and how my investment probably will required to achieve the set target. So that's what like okay right now we are offering to the organization.
All right. Thanks for that, Mr. Singh. So, we have now looked at the broader sustainability landscape and discussed the importance of moving towards more intelligent and data-driven approaches to ESG and climate management. But naturally, the next question is how can organization actually put this into practice? And this brings us to the most practical part of today's session. We are now going to move from concept to application with a live demonstration of G3S ESG and climate tech platform. To take us through the demonstration, I would like to introduce Mr. Praveen Kumar Divakar, Product Manager at G3S Sustainability Corporation. Praveen will show us how the G3S platform can help organization work with sustainability and ESG data and support areas such as ESG assessment, sustainability performance management, climate related analysis, and informed decision making. Praveen, thank you for joining us here. Over to you.
Thank you, Varun. I will be demonstrating the real live demonstration of the suite of products that we have at GE3S. Good afternoon, everyone. Whoever you are in the room today, and I know that this is a mixed group, we all are here because a version of the same question had landed on our desk, had prove it, score it, and price the risk on it, or show us your customer the paperwork behind it. Today, I am going to walk you through 5 products in the order a real sustainability program actually uses them. So these are not 5 separate tools. These are connected to one data set, entered once, and that flows through all 5 of them. We call this the measurement layer. So you collect once and disclose everywhere. By the end of the next 20 or 25 minutes, you will have watched one number, a single site's emission record, and travel all the way from raw activity data to a product level environmental product declaration without ever being retyped. So every framework you will hear about today is downstream of one thing, which we have been talking about since the beginning, whether your underlying data is trustworthy or not. Uh, Now coming to this screen, I hope it's visible to you all. please give me a confirmation on this if it's visible to you all. We have five products listed over here. SDM tool, ESG rating tool, GHG tool, SMA tool, and CRA tool. We have GE3S AI as well. So in which we have T6 agents to do different kind of works related to carbon scope analyst, ESG score optimizer, SDM data steward, climate risk advisor, material sustainability scout, and compliance navigator. Then we have GE3S AI also, which helps you making decisions better. So let's say if you have some data with you, you have generated your reports with us, you can ask those questions live from our GE3S AI. This all of our tools covers almost 34 plus sectors, and those sectors are listed over here from manufacturing to media and entertainment. We cover it all for all the reports. We have Knowledge Hub also. So this is a one-stop solution for all your sustainability needs. You can get your sustainability education from here. You can do from easy to hard level quizzes here. You can get certified here. You can do unit conversion here for your raw fuel data or raw activity data. And you have newsletters and blogs and articles also coming from us. Then we have Nexus, which connects all our professionals into one community so that they can share everything which has been coming up in the news related to sustainability, ESG, so that we can be educated by it. Now, going towards the real demonstration of the products, I will sign in with my demo credentials. It is having a single sign-on account. So let's say if you create one account, you can log in into every one tool of ours. So that is SDM tool and to CRA tool. Moving on to the very first tool, which is SDM tool, which is the abbreviation of Sustainability Data Management. It has multi-framework ESG and sustainability reporting. Some of the major frameworks you can see listed over here. Now, uh, the single record every other product and this suite reads from is coming from sustainability data management. So let's say all of our sustainability teams run, let's say, one spreadsheet per framework, which Mr. Antonios was talking about, right? Uh, the same emission figure gets typed in four times in different spreadsheets, four different ways. And in the very end, eventually, two of our colleagues will disagree on them that this is not correct. So this is covering them all. SDM exists to make that impossible so that no one gets to question your emission factors. Every KPI is entered once. You have data management setup where I have already entered one site here, one dummy site here, which is in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates. And then you have the country setup. So let's say if you have operations in five different countries and they all have their own regulations and frameworks, you can map it all in one product. So let's say if your another site is in India, you can cover two countries or five countries, whichever you want. Then you have a global setup. So let's say if you have a global entity looking after all of the sites of yours, you can enter that global entity. Then you have primary reporting frameworks also, which you can see here: GRI, SASB, ISSB, TCFD, EU taxonomy, CSRD, ISO 14064, ISO 14001. You can choose your reporting here, and choose your currency also. Let's say if your financial data is any one of these currency, then you can choose that currency. And its framework tagged at the point of entry, like we can see here, and not mapped afterward by someone with a highlighter. So let's say once you do it all, you will go on to the data entry page. This is what we mean by multi-framework by design. So one KPI record carries its GRI, SASB, TCFD references from day one and rolls up into jurisdiction specific formats like BRSR for an Indian listed entity, CSRD, ESRS for a large Europe scoped one. So without a second data collection cycle, you can choose your period over here from monthly to annually, whichever you want. Let's say if you want annual reports, you can do it here. You can invite your team members over here to enter the data for you. You can give them three types of accesses: edit, view, and admin access, and they can enter the data for you. So you can choose the sectors also here. I have chosen plastic for the dummy data entry today. You can choose over 34 sectors over here, and the KPIs will be mapped according to that. So now coming on to this navbar here, we have GHG emissions, which is the raw data. You can enter your raw data over here. Your scope 1 emissions will be coming from GHG accounting tool. Your petrol consumed, coal consumed, you can enter it all here. Then you have refrigerant gas, R22, R134A, all this you can enter here. Now coming on to the real part over here, which is the mapping of multi frameworks. Because I had chosen GRI in the data entry, it is taking me to GRI environmental disclosures. We have mapped all the KPIs. So let's say if some of the data is entered before, this will map all the data in this. So you will find all the reporting of GRI over here and any framework that you want that we have talked about in the past. Now, because I have chosen plastic industry, the sector specific KPIs are here, which you can see. So for a sector template like plastics and pulp and paper, this comes about 170 individual KPIs, and each one carrying its own unit, its own priority, and its own framework tags, and not a spreadsheet column, a governed field. And because it's one governed record, validation runs the moment data enters here, not at year end audit. So now I will do save and view dashboard. I have already data filled, some of the data filled over here. So you can see the dashboard here. Some reconciliation unit dimension checks have been done in the backend. Range checks have been done in the backend. And if your water sources, let's say, don't add up to your declared total, that will give you an error. So you find out today, not from your assurance provider, let's say in the April, those errors beforehand. You can choose all of your sites here. You can choose for all sites. You can choose for a specific site. You can choose your period. You can choose your year. And you can see different types of data related to finance, social, governance. You can do a site comparison here and the framework KPIs as well. Now, we can what we can do here is like we can generate an instant report, an instant ESG report through this platform. Let's say if I click on export, this will give me a PDF report, a full-fledged ESG report in PDF format. Looks like this, totally generated with the help of AI, which is an annual report of 2025 of our site, and the reporting period is here. These are the number of KPIs that you have reported in our data tool. Uh, this is the document control. This is the TOC. This is the company overview, which you have given in the data entry, products, markets, and the year-end brief, and message from the CEO, message from the leadership, and the basis of preparation as well. So you ingest the data, you validate the data, compute, narrate, and review. Yes, Mr. Satyapal would like to
Yeah.
add something, please.
So just wanted to, yes, so now we can see actually we were not able to see the screen. I'm not sure if other people were able to see. So this PDF report, if you can just scroll it from top to bottom quickly. So
Sure.
because we missed that. Thank you. So
Yes. So, yes, Mr.
yeah,
Satyapal,
okay. So
please.
this is the report. If you can just take at the first page. So here, what we do, like we connect the STM, like the data, and then initially when we set up the account, we ask the branding guidelines so that like okay, the report which is going to get generated will be in the same format as the client is having their branding guidelines. And these all the names, like okay, whoever are handling the departments, so those can be updated. And this the complete like ESG and sustainability report, which typically takes like months, uh, or getting automatically generated in less than an hours for any organization. So if you can just scroll it down, Praveen, gradually that what it is covering, it will be great for the all participants. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Singh. So this is the table of contents. We have covered the foundation, the ESG pillars, the sector value, and assurance and forward plan also. We have given some legends here just to differentiate between different things. Then we have the company overview. We ask for some pictures of your plant. Let's say this is the picture of your plant. So this will be generated in the report from the help of AI. And this overview will be given that how many sites do you have, what is the combined output, and what has been the revenue in that reporting period. What are your products? What is your market? And the year in brief for the report is generated. What are the certifications that you are having? And what are the milestones that you have completed in that year? And we also give you some notes over here that how this page was produced through the help of AI. Message from leadership. This is a dummy picture which has been used. You can use your own picture for your industry. And this is the message that you can generate, and you can give the overview to our AI, and that will generate the message for you. The basis of preparation for that report, that what has been the process of generating this report, that you ingested the data first, the data was validated in SDM, then the computation part and the narration and review of this report. The reporting boundaries are given over here, the standards which are applied, GRI, SASB, TCFD, UNSDG, all those frameworks are mentioned over here. And the validation exceptions also we have given. We have given the gaps also in the very end of this report, which we find with the help of AI. Now, because we have an ESG rating tool also, so this score is coming through that ESG score tool. So this 70.4 is your score in environment, social governance, and you have a sector performance as well, which we will talk about very soon in the ESG rating tool. Now, the headline metrics are given if they have increased by how much, and the company and operations profile also, uh, materiality and framework alignment here, SDG mapping here, targets and commitments for the year that you have completed, like the social targets, women in senior leadership, the ESG performance board also. So this is the trend chart over here. If they have decreased or increased, and then the percentage of them for environmental, social, and governance, and the sector specific KPIs also, which we were talking about for plastic. The initiatives this year that you have taken, those are reported over here. Initiatives in the field, these are some of the pictures which you will have to share with the AI so that it can be fetched into the report. The climate and GHG emissions, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, and gives you the breakdown, what has been the emission and what is the net after offsets if you have purchased any. Emission sources and intensity, like by gross floor area, by employee, by US dollar of revenue. The intensity metrics are given here. The energy management page, the energy efficiency and outlook page, water stewardship. So I'm not going into the details of every page because we have time constraints over here and I have to cover more tools. So these are some of the pages that you will see totally generated with the help of AI with your real data instantly and aligning to every framework that you give us. The board and committee is also here. The tree chart, the governance and ethics, supply chain sustainability, the sector overview page, because we had chosen plastic. So here it is plastic, sustainability, finance, and climate risks, which is coming through our climate risk assessment tool, which is CRA tool. So you will find all the sustainability, finance, and climate risk over here, and the data quality, assurance readiness, gap analysis also, and the roadmap for this. Um, okay, so we can move on to another tool of ours. So coming from sustainability data management, so once that record is clean, the first thing every client wants out of it is a number that they can actually publish. Let's say their carbon footprint, that's GHG. So now going back to GHG tool, we have GHG tool over here. So um, let's say if you generate any report and you give us the data, I will show you one report. So this data will be mapped through the help of sustainability data management. And we have scope boundaries following the GHG protocol, which counts scope 1, 2, and 3. And quantification and third party verification follow ISO 14064. And the emission factors that we have in the backend are coming from IPCC AR6, tracing to DEFRA, tracing to EPA. We have scope 1, we have scope 2, all the KPIs are covered here: fuel consumption, scope 2, electricity consumption, chilled water consumption. And then scope 3 also, we have waste generated, business travel. So we have automated from scope 1 to scope 3. Scope 3 is very difficult, and we have made that easy that you can invite, let's say, your team members or your supply chain to enter the data for you. So this report will be generated covering scope 1 to scope 3. So I will show you one report over here, which is giving you the breakdown of scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. This is the kind of report that you will see digitally, giving you the breakdown of each and every KPI in scope 1 and scope 2 and scope 3 as well. All the KPIs are covered, 15 categories of scope 3. So what you can do is, just like the ESG report, we can download this report also in PDF format and in CSV format, which will give you a comprehensive report for giving you the GHG accounting. Okay, so this is the greenhouse gas report, which is made for year 2026. These are some of the details for the report. Then we have the disclaimer and methodology over here. The disclaimer is given, the GHG protocol methodology is given, the GHG gases included and excluded are given on this page, and the emissions that were used, emission factors which were used to generate this report, which are covered over here. This is giving you the breakdown of all three scope. And then we have individual emissions related to each and every KPI from scope 1 to scope 3. Now, yes, Mr. Singh, please.
Thanks, Praveen. I think somehow the screen is also getting hang on in between. This is one, and in the interest of time, we need to cover also quickly the other tool, so we can just like probably like move on to the CRA and ESG rating. So if you allow, I can also present from my side so that I can take it forward in the interest of time. Just give me a second. So yeah, please just
Sure.
confirm if my screen is visible, so I will take. Okay.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So let me know in case if it is so. So as we discussed that we covered the STM, which is the base tool to connect the data from company. And once the data is connected in the STM, you can generate the multi-framework reporting. And the same data is also used for the carbon accounting. And carbon accounting, this platform provide not only the reporting but also at the same platform, you have the carbon credit and IREX available on the platform. When any company want to also procure carbon credit or IREX, they can also procure from the same platform as well. Once like okay, these two parts are done, then every company want to measure their performance in terms of ESG and climate tech. that where they do stand, and that's where like okay our ESG rating provide. And ESG rating is sector specific, and it is for the global level. So any company who want to see their data, because since you have already connected your data in STM, and now automatically you will be able to rate your company in your sectors that where you are falling. And that's where like okay this platform provide to you in the base performance base represent in your sector where do you spend where do you stand. And environmental, social, and governance, these stand for like overall in this sector relative to the all the companies where do you stand, let's say. Okay, so this is quite different from the many other rating providers, because here you do not only get the rating, but you also can by your choice can do the benchmarking. And in the benchmarking you can select a company which you want to compare. For example, like ADNOC if you are in the oil and gas, or ADNOC gas. And so here you submit your benchmarking request, and then you will be able to see your performance with reference to those other company as well. So main purpose of this ESG rating tools for us to help the companies know first internally that where they are standing with respect to the peer, and how they can improve it. And how they can improve it, that is also provided as part of our rating, which is like here actionable items or actionable insight based on your company's data and activities. It provides you the actionable insight that what you should do as an organization in short term, medium term, and long term. So this is something which is unique and being offered as part of the platform. Going forward, then there is a climate risk assessment, which is again any site or any asset which you have across the globe. You just place your site locations and asset details, and you will be automatically be able to get to know what are the climate risk associated with your facility. So as you know, like the TCFD has been in market for quite a long time, and many businesses want to assess what could be the potential risk of their facility. So it's so simple. Here you just need to place your facility details, and then you get to generate the climate risk assessment report, which covers sea level rise, flood risk, temperature risk, drought risk, insurance risk, and compliance risk. So all this as part of like okay the same platform, and these reports then can be just simply downloaded, and you can use it for your decision making or any compliance related requirement. So this is just sample report which is getting generated from the platform. Please let me know if you are able to see it. Praveen, if you can confirm, because your screen was earlier a little holding.
Yes, yes,
So
sir. We can see
oh,
it.
great. So this report is automatically generated, and we have uh, connected all the data in the globe in terms of geography, in terms of temperature, in terms of your drought, in terms of rainfall, in terms of carbon emissions, and in terms of uh, uh, you can say also the health risk at that particular site. So this is the simple report which you get to see, and this report provide you these risk in the different scenarios. As we know that IPCC predict the emissions and also the temperature rise in the different scenarios. So SSP1 26, this is as we know like there are the five scenario. We have considered the three scenario: SSP1, SSP2, and SSP5. And in the each of the scenario, in the short term, long term, and short term, medium term, and long term, what could be the impact at your location in terms of the sea level rise, or or you can see the flood risk, and then temperature risk, and then also drought risk, and then compliance risk. As we know, like every country is having the carbon tax, and you need to know that based on your emissions, what could be the potential compliance risk to your facility. So you calculate from this platform. Financial exposure, which is in terms of like your asset, like it's not only that due to so compliance risk is because of your emissions, what are the compliance cost which you have to incur, and financial exposure provide you that due to the climate change, to what extent your facility can get damaged, and in case if you want to protect it through the insurance, then what could be the risk in future, that like that in terms of the financial risk that you need to consider, that premium could be higher based on the site location. So it provide you the insurance risk. And so uh, then last but not least, I would say the tools, which is our SMA tool that every manufacturer are required, like as Mr. Antonio stated in the beginning, that CBAM is the regulation particularly for the European continent. And if we talk from the point of view that how it is going to affect the company which is manufacturing any product in UAE, or let's say in India, or in Africa, or anywhere. So SME provide the companies to calculate their life cycle assessment or analysis, which help them to get their EPD, because which is something which is required. And also it is required to know that during the entire life cycle, what could be the emissions associated with your manufacturing of the product. So all these in the one suit. There's a lot more. I'm pretty sure like all people can just like okay browse through the sites and get to know what we are doing. Is what we have experienced in the past almost 2 decades, that facing the same challenge of data collection, calculations, and reporting to the different framework, and then also depending on external people, and sometimes those experts are not available quickly and taking enormous time to complete the same exercise. And what we have made it like okay, this entire ecosystem as single platform within less than an hour to do all the job. So this is just in brief from my side. Over to Varun to continue with this. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Singh, and thank you, Mr. Praveen, for the excellent demonstration. I think the demo really brings together one of the key message of today's webinar. Sustainability becomes far more powerful when data, technology, and expertise come together. So, Mr. Antonios, based on your experience in sustainability and climate action, what is your feedback on the G3S digital platform? And where do you see technology like this adding the most valuable for organizations? I'd also love to get your thoughts on G3S digital platform. Over to you, sir.
Mr. Varun, thank you so much. Just for housekeeping purposes, let me know how much time we have so I can be as brief or not brief I can be, if I may. Do we have a couple of minutes?
Yeah,
So we can, yeah.
yeah, I guess we
Uh,
were supposed to cover up the demo session
yeah,
like
that's
within
fine.
20 minutes, but it stretched. So you can, it's fine. You
That's
can take
fine.
your time. Like, yeah, you can
Let me
like
be
give your
let
answer.
me be brief because I think it's more valuable. I think we have also some questions from the chat.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me be very
yeah.
brief because I also had the chance to see this also for the first time. I don't know if it's possible we can go briefly to that page that has the 5 segments in the very beginning. So I think it's more valuable. Yes, that one. So
Love to
for
have your
me,
opinion on that.
yeah. No, this was brilliant. Because you asked me also before about challenges, right? I think one of the challenges that we face when we start this journey is also, first of all, as I mentioned, it's also important to have leadership buy-in, consensus, and so on. Then when we start the journey, we start also with enormous fragmentation of data. We collect data from all sources within organizations. Sometimes also we need to, when data is not available, we need to start collecting data and create those mechanisms for collecting data. What this tool that I just saw creates is that kind of seamless experience. It's really important as we see it here. first of all, to be able to enter the data in a very simple way and be able also through that tool, actually, from what I saw, it really augments the capabilities of a sustainability team. Having a tool such as the one that we saw on the screen right now actually would make my life much easier. Using the SDM tool, being able also, because we follow, for example, the Abu Dhabi, the G protocol, be able straight away to translate that data into scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, be able also to look into, for example, also use through our locations straight away, have a climate risk assessment report created. These are all things that save time, create a one-stop shop, and also, as I said, augment the capability of a team, first of all, to create that one-stop shop so that we can create ownership within organizations. That's also one very important segment. You can collect the data from your facilities team, your finance, and so on. But how you can create one dashboard where everybody can log in, create that ownership, validate the data, and then from month to month, from quarter to quarter, be able to drill down if we are on track or not on track, and be able to, for example, focus on a specific area. If energy, if an organization is not performing great on energy, on water and waste, and be able to focus on those specific areas from time to time, and be able to work with a broader team, because as everybody knows, I don't have to preach to the choir. Sustainability is not a one-month job, for example. We need consensus and we need to work across different teams. In that way, what I need to, as a team, for example, within NYU Abu Dhabi, is I need to be able quickly to hold people accountable in a good way, work with different teams, and create that kind of consensus where different teams within the organization are helping one another so that we can create that framework and be able, at the end of the day, to report, but also monitor, track, and be able to stay on top. That's always the difficult part. When you have fragmented data, numerous Excel sheets, it becomes really hard to stay on top. So for me, from what I've seen, from the capabilities that the tools that G3S has developed, it's really music in my ears and could be really used, not only, just as I said, not only to benchmark, but be able to stay on top and stay on track, regardless of what each organization's target could be. And also, from what I'm seeing, it makes it easier from the numerous protocols that are out there to be able also to benchmark and to be able also to submit for different types of ISOs, ESG, and other protocols. So brilliant job. I think this has a lot of potential. And with time, I'm sure that's going to be also very much evolved with more standards becoming available as well. I think that this protocol also, this tool also can become also even more powerful over time. So this is brilliant, and thank you. I'll stop there because I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions from the audience.
Well, thank you, Mr. Antonius, for sharing your perspective and for taking the time to explore the platform with us. So I think your feedback highlights an important point. Technology is most valuable when it helps organization turns sustainability data into practical insight and better decisions. So we've now looked at the regularity and sustainability perspective, the strategic perspective, and finally the practical technology perspective through the G3S platform. And now we'd like to hear from our audience. So it's now time for a Q&A session. This is your opportunity, guys, to ask our speakers questions related to the topics covered so far. So if you have any questions about ESG, climate regulation, sustainability strategy, or the G3S digital platform, please drop them in the chat section. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we'll try to cover up as many questions as possible during the time available. So let's begin with our first question now. I guess we already have a lot of questions, and there is a question that we have from Biji Biju. So Biji Biju is asking, in your experience, how do you convince board members that sustainability initiatives can create long-term business value while maintaining profitability? So, Mr. Antonios, Mr. Satyapal, who would like to answer this one?
Saryapal, I can start if I may,
Yep.
for a minute, and then I can turn it over to you. First of all, in the UAE especially, with a new law since 20, the Climate Law 11, for example, um, complying or showcasing, for example, your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, and therefore from there, showcasing, as the law indicates, how you can reduce those emissions is no longer an option. It's part of the law. So we're talking about something that eventually will become part of every organization's business as usual. So what the UAE has done with the new law is raising the bar for the business as usual scenario. No? So from there, we're not talking about something that's optional, but it's also from a law's perspective, it started to get enforced. And for me, definitely it's a positive step forward in the net zero journey of the country. Now, from that step forward, looking into this not as a burden, but as an opportunity, there, any sustainability manager, director, or whomever is responsible for that journey to be initiated in any organization has that opportunity, again, to present that as a positive challenge. In that way, we need to focus into showcasing what is the benefit of sustainability rather than, again, the burden of complying, right? When we talk about energy, again, I don't have to preach to the choir. When we change, for example, fluorescence to LEDs, right? I'll use that very simple example. We have to educate people about the long-term savings, the long-term vision of anything that we install, any measure, any initiative, any um, um, long-term plan that we develop. And I always like to use that example because it's very visible. But we go beyond that. It's water, it's waste. We're talking about transportation and so on. There are so many benefits that we can look into. And from my point of view, and I'll turn it over to Satyapal very quickly to take also even more questions. What I envision one day in my organization is that my job is no longer needed. Everybody understands what they need to do. Everybody understands how sustainability is embedded within their own scope of works, and it becomes part of the simplest day to day, so that we no longer have to slap sustainability requirements on top of what everybody does, but it becomes part of the day to day. I don't have to convince anybody why they have to go for LEDs. I don't have to convince anybody why they need to start looking into, for example, investing into EV charging stations, for example, or looking into moving their fleet from petrol vehicles to EV vehicles, and so on and so forth. So it's a day-to-day challenge. It's something that you continuously have to do, but you need to create that opportunity and present that opportunity to leadership and across the team, and create that and build that togetherness and consensus across different teams that have different priorities. They are very busy, and sometimes it's also a very challenging environment, but it takes time and it takes a lot of training, if I might say. Satyapal, over to you.
Thanks, Anthony. You covered very well, but like your perspective and I always say also the sustainability in future is gonna be as a culture, as part of your organization's way, in which it is not considered as separate some business unit, but it's a part of the culture. But the questions lie right now as we hear that how to convince the board at this point of time, because most of the time the board could be interested on the financial part, like okay, that what is the return if some actions is taken. So before financial return, I would say definitely sustainability help building the um, uh, brand as like investors, consumers, and even the stakeholders prefer to do the business with the company which who disclose the sustainability related KPIs or disclosures, let's say, okay, because that's so the transparency that what we are. And if we talk in the medium term, sustainability drive your operational efficiency, how to reduce your energy consumption, how to reduce your water consumption, how to divert the waste, let's say, okay, which ultimately you pay for the everything. And when you reduce this thing, then definitely it benefit to you, and it reduce your operational cost, like okay. um Last but not least, of course, like you as an organization contribute to the environmental impact reductions, which serve the goal of the larger community. And that's where, like, okay, all these global actions are being taken in terms of the SDGs and in terms of the Paris Climate Agreement. So if you see in that way, the sustainability serve at the three level. One, you are aligning with what the globe is talking so that you are relevant. And second, in the short terms, you are also like, okay, creating your brand and distinguishing yourself from the peers, and also optimizing your operational cost by reducing your energy bills and water bills and waste. And this is, and of course, like, then you help also the larger community. This is how we do see. And to be precisely with these three things, which are put forward to the board, I'm afraid that any of the board members will say no if they want to be relevant to the rest of the world. They would definitely will go with this. And if someone want to be very specific to the some territory and who has to take care of only the short term profit, probably these stocks may not be having much of the weightage. But that's how, like, okay, we do see, like, any sensible team members or at the top level, people are already concerned about that. And that's how these talks has started from the global level to the national level framework, and then they have come at the sorry for taking a little long, but yeah, go ahead.
So the Apple, just 20 seconds on this, because you mentioned brand. Even prospective students in an academic institution like ours, before joining NYU, Abu Dhabi, or any other academic institution, they're looking into how serious we are about sustainability. They're holding us accountable. And when they become students, they ask questions. Because, for example, we teach about values like justice, social justice, environmental justice. But what we do about it at the same time is equally important. We can't be, on one hand, speaking about this in class, and on the other hand, neglecting, for example, what the impact of the university is on the environment itself. So brand is very important in universities more and more, even in the UAE. A lot of like-minded universities like us are looking into this, and we formed recently, as part of COP28, the University Climate Network. And in there, we're trying as universities to see how we can help one another and work into minimizing our impact. So even prospective students are looking into that before picking which university they're going to be joining later on. So brand is very important and becomes part of even academic institutions, for example.
Thank you, Arjun. I think we can take up the next questions.
Uh,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. I guess that answers Biju's question. So let's move to the next question. It's from Rima Sharma, and I guess it's going to be most probably for Mr. Singh or Mr. Praveen. So she's asking, how do you make sure that the client data which goes in this tool is protected? How is this tool going to help a consulting firm?
Well, thank you for putting up these questions. It is more on data confidentiality and where my data is going. And right now, we as a company, we are ISO 27001 certified and also the GDPR compliant. And on top of that, we are making sure that any client's data is also stored regionally in the cloud in that regions. Let's say if the client is in the Middle East, then we are keeping the data, for example, in the UAE for the UAE data centers, and if it is the Europe, then European data centers, and if it is in India, then it in India data centers. So that's the one thing. And second, in terms of confidentiality, because once the platform is deployed to your premises, it's you who knows, like, what the data is connected, and you will be only able to see it. So somehow one need to believe on that system, that this data which you are sharing, it is only for you, for your analysis and for your reporting, and somewhere in the cloud it is there. Okay. So right now we follow this compliance requirement, which are in any country, to make sure that the data which is being shared on the platform remain only for intended purpose, and we do not have the access once the client is onboarded with the platform. And moreover, like okay, in some cases, we also create the independent instances based on the client requirement so that it is also not interacting with any other system also.
All right, thanks. I guess, Mr. Singh, she also asked, like, how is this tool going to help a consulting firm?
For the consulting firm point of view, definitely like you work with the lots of clients. So directly for the consulting, if you want to report your own, let's say, sustainability reports or GHG accounting and also the other analysis, then fine. Otherwise, it is primarily for end user. So that like they do not depend externally. So somehow we do not see very much use case except reseller opportunities, to be precisely like okay. So either to use it for their own purpose or to put forward in front of your client so that like they can have the automated system, because we are trying to remove all those manual intervention which delay the entire report cycle, one, and second also the cost also which the client incur for the multiple type of the framework reporting. So I'm afraid on that front that it has any use for the consulting except offering it to the own client.
All right, thanks, Mr. Singh. I guess that answers Rima's question there. So we have next question from Bhavani Shankar Sharma. So Bhavani Shankar says recently institutions like EY and Deloitte were penalized on utilizing AI into third-party practice, which the sustainability services with the sustainability services. Can you guide us this platform equipped with standard regulations to respective organizations or country norms on AI driven tools? Over to you.
Yeah. So just I'll take this also the question. The first of all, the agents and the AI, they are interacting with your data, and you only have the access. So we are not having any kind of intervention in which. Okay. So it's your data. You have connected your data with our AI agent. So we do not interact with your data, and whatever the reports which are getting generated and whatever the analysis that is being done, it is only visible to you. So had it been the case that we take the assignment from client and we say that we are going to prepare the report, and I use the AI, and then I use the AI to generate the report and submit to the client, probably that could be the case. But in our case, we are removing that intervention itself, so that like client is directly using the platform and using the AI for their own speed up decision making things, so that instead of waiting for any analysis to be done by the consultant, they can get it done through the platform. So I'm doubtful that it is creating any kind of um issue in terms of the regulatory requirements when it comes to uh, uh, like uh, local regulations or so. We need, I always say that in the data part, you need to believe at one point of time. If today if I have the Gmail account or any account, I can have the same question at the like 10 years back, that what is the guarantee that Google is not going to see my emails communications, let's say. Okay, and the businesses goes in the trust at the one levels, and all the data is on the server. So this chain doesn't only end with the AI, it goes further to the cloud owners, like so. Okay, so we don't see any kind of these issues, and we don't see any kind of the risk, and we see that wherever there is the deployment of this platform, we comply with the local regulation and confidentiality and all the certifications which are required in that region.
Thanks, Mr. Singh. I guess that answers Bhavani Shankar's question. So we don't have any more questions here. Guys, if you have final questions, now would be the perfect time to share it. We'll wait for another minute. And also, guys, if we don't get your questions today, please don't worry. You can always stay connected with G3S and reach out us for further information. You can follow us on our social media handles. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So this just wanted to inform you guys that this webinar session is recorded and it will be uploaded soon on our YouTube channel. So I'll share the details post webinar. I'll be sending you email regarding all the information. So let's
I
wait
have one
for
last question.
yes, yes.
Yes, I
Go
have
ahead,
one
Mr.
last
Antonio.
question. Maybe like as a quick discussion with Satyapal and you, Varun. As I was seeing the platform and was seeing the reports, I saw, for example, there was also an ISO segment in one of the five different dashboards. I'm assuming that once you enter the data, for example, in the first section, the SDM, if I remember correctly, it was called Sustainability Data Management. Then when you go into the other ones, for example, the reports that you're obtaining are ready to submit, for example, for your ISO related certification requirements, right? So the system itself prepares automatically the report based on your data. Is my understanding correct, Satyapal, for example, for the ISO specifically?
Right. So if you need the report in line with the ISO only, so that is
So that you
also,
can
yeah,
submit and
yeah,
your
correct. Yeah,
so that
correct.
you can get your certification, for example, and it's ready to be submitted for the
For
required
the
certification, for example.
So, for example, for ISO 64000, for 14064, which is for the carbon accounting.
Mhm.
So, if you want to just select that one, then reporting will be in line with that only. And in case if you want to select, let's say, related to IMS, also integrated management system.
Mhm.
So the IMS related reporting will be generated. So we did not want to confuse. So those are the add-on actually. Like so, right now, what it is the ESG, which
Correct.
is the integrated platform, because it combine all the segment into the ESG principle. But then there are the add-on for ISO 50001, and then also for health and safety related and IMS, and also there is a dashboard which is for energy analytics, which connect direct your data from your submeter to the dashboard and tells you what are the energy saving opportunities. So today we did not we wanted to keep that it away, but yes, all those are provided by thinking that how to make the client's experience seamless, easy. That's the whole goal of this.
For me,
Mm.
if I am to reflect, if we don't have any more questions, Varun, feel free to stop me. But for me, it's not about the data availability, but sometimes also how you look into or you read, for example, a specific set of requirements and how you translate that data into a submission. Sometimes it's also the headache itself. So if the platform also helps into that direction, it's something very useful as well. How do you translate raw data into a report that's ready to be submitted, for example, to obtain a specific certification? It's also something very helpful. So I'm seeing enormous opportunities from just collecting a set of data and translating into, all sorts of reports depending on your requirement, depending on what's needed from a specific organization. So I can see multiple applications, if I might say, from what I saw just now.
Yes, true. So that focus was there to make sure that this part is automated for health and safety, for the environment, for the energy, separately for the ISO related reporting, and additionally for the company they want to go for, let's say, ISO 9001. So now ISO 9001 is getting updated with the climate risk assessment related requirements. So this platform offer that automatically. Like, okay, so you have your facility, you just place your coordinate and emissions and automatically generate the report, which you can utilize it for your ISO 9001 certification as well. What we are offering, as I say, like, Anthony, is that enterprise level any company anywhere, so they can use the same platform and just replicate the same uh, in that country, and then you manage entirely from quality, from health, from the environment, from energy, and then framework, and then do all the reporting in background, and also automated calculations.
But also things like, for example, the climate risk assessment is something brilliant because, for example, for us, it has been something that has been in our mind for quite some time. But having so many things to take care of on a day-to-day, tapping into a platform like yours, for example, and having that information coming to us by just simply, right, inputting your location and seeing those different types of information further, for example, could strengthen even some of the decisions we make on a day-to-day or an annual or a quarterly basis. So I'm seeing a lot of different applications, and I'm already thinking of ways of how we can use the platform to even better inform certain of our decisions or day-to-day information that we need to look into, for example.
Yeah, sure, sure. Anthony. So I think we can also take the one more questions from Mr. Bhavani Sankar Sharma, say that there was an assurance compliance in the form of ESG rating tool within the GTS platform. The data silos are shown to a client dashboard. But what would be the compliance conflict on the end product as a company sustainability report? Here, the catch, I see the conflict unverified authority versus regulatory standard. So, first of all, we would like to say that sustainability is the beyond the compliance related things. Sustainability is always, and it was also earlier, but somehow probably it was compromised. So that's why it become in today's world more important. So ratings are there by the different agencies, and they have the different methodologies and weightage depending on what they are focusing it. So for example, our methodology, it is our proprietary methodology. It's not the AI driven rating or something. It is client specific data versus the technology data. Technology data means like there is always the best technology in the sectors, and you are rated against that where you are falling. And that technology related research is conducted by us and our team, so that you can get to know that as a company, let's say you are in iron and steel, then whether your emissions in terms of your energy consumptions are you can say are best in the industry or not. That's only possible by comparing what is available technology in the market. So probably like with the companies who might have used non-structured methodology, they can face such kind of challenge. But we have given quite a lot deep thought behind the rating, because it has been developed after almost like 4 5 years of the continuous research, continuous uh, work, and also understanding the market, that what is the gap right now. So in our view, again, ESG rating has to be chosen by the company, and they are free to choose which one to use it, if that is helping them for any decision making, or improving the performance, or driving their company to achieve the certain goals, instead of looking it as greenwashing or so. Then probably then those ratings should not be looked as the you can say um, uh, respected or trusted. So it is up to the company. Our rating, as we are providing, is first internal, which you can see with the open available data in the globe, and second, the rating which we are providing is with respect to the technology, which is our proprietary, and you can use it, and you can say that like, okay, this is the rating provided by the G3S, as simple as, and we take the ownership of defining the structure methodology in front of the any governing body.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Singh. Thanks, Mr. Antonio, for that wonderful Q&A. So it looks like we have covered many of the questions coming in. But before we end up this Q&A, so I personally wanted to ask a question to Mr. Antonios, since we have this opportunity to have you here with us and with your expertise in sustainability and energy management. I mean, it's not a question, but I would like to ask you, if you could give one piece of advice to sustainability professionals who are preparing their organizations for the next generation climate regulations, what it would be. Over to you, sir.
Was trying to unmute. Single piece of advice. Uh, well, I would say that, you know, for me, and starting back in 2010, working in the UAE as a sustainability consultant, then the private in the government of Abu Dhabi as part of the Istidama team, now in academia. For me, the hardest part has been always to convince people that sustainability is not just an add-on or just some other compliance or another regulatory requirement that they need to comply, like civil defense or anything else. That's more of an opportunity, and at least post 2020, I would say roughly, um, sustainability for good or bad has become more of a buzzword, which is encouraging. We see more organizations, we see more regulations coming up. We've seen more commitments. We have seen things like COP28 happening in the UAE. There has been a lot. Back in the day, we were only a few hundreds that were working in the UAE in sustainability. Now there's more and more people, even from academia. I'm seeing students coming to me and asking how they can, go into sustainability or work into the field. What I would say is that it is always important to build consensus. And what I have been investing over the past 5 years in NYU Abu Dhabi is how can I build trust and how I can create those partnerships with other teams and create some kind of a team of my own where with people that they don't report necessarily to me or they don't have a direct line of reporting to me, how I can create that togetherness and make them believe in what I'm trying to do. That's always the most important part, how we can create that togetherness and go beyond, again, simply asking someone to give me some, energy consumption per month, or asking someone to give me, for example, some simple data, work with me. How we can create that cause, create some North Star, if I might say. In our case, in NYU Abu Dhabi is the Climate Action Plan. Develop that North Star, which is our carbon neutrality goal. And from there, on a day-to-day basis, month for month, quarter to quarter, or year on year, create that incremental improvement, right? Create more of a roadmap. And there, year on year, through challenges, through change that we've seen, even the last couple of years, we've seen the boom of AI. When I started back in 2021 drafting the Climate Action Plan, we were not even thinking about AI. Now it's part of our next 5 to 10 years on seeing how we can integrate AI into our organization by looking into also technological opportunities, looking into also as well regulations. Climate law now of 11 of 2024 is now part of our lives. How we can, integrate all of that and keep creating opportunities. It's not an easy job. Sometimes, there are a lot of obstacles, there are a lot of moving pieces. But I think on the other hand, there couldn't be more opportunities now for someone working in the field, on also tapping into the technology, tapping into also regulations and creating that, if I might say, making the case so that from a top down, but also from a bottom up perspective, create momentum and maintain that momentum. There are a lot of tools out there. There are a lot of dashboards like the ones that we saw from GE3S, for example, that can enable organizations to make things easier. And I guess my guess is that within the next 5 to 10 years, it will become more and more, if I might say, important that teams themselves, beyond just having a sustainability team alone, need to be trained on certain elements. Facility management teams need to understand how they can create or how they can improve their assets, for example, or procurement teams themselves have to build capacity within their teams and start understanding more and more how they can, benefit from those opportunities. So I'm very optimistic. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities we face a lot of challenges geopolitically as well. Despite also, for example, on a global level since 2024 with the US administration pulling out of the Paris Agreement, there might be obstacles, but you know, UAE, the pace is strong, and I'm very optimistic that we will be seeing more and more improvements and more progress in that area. I just read the other day, for example, how the UAE will be increasing, Abu Dhabi especially will be increasing their capacity in clean and renewable energy. So there's no stop on this. I'm seeing a lot of also investment in agricultural, sustainable investments, and among other, and a lot of other segments. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm hopeful that a lot of the people that also joined today's session will keep building momentum in their organizations, or will keep pushing for achieving, as part of the country's net zero commitments also, each organization will go also and embark on that journey as well.
Well, that's quite an advice there, Mr. Antonios. So thank you, Mr. Antonios and Mr. Singh, for such a wonderful Q&A. So I guess, guys, we have, we haven't covered not everything, but almost some important points related to the topic that we organized today. And we really appreciate everyone that has joined. So before we officially close today's webinar, I would also like to take a couple of minutes to highlight some learning and professional development opportunities available through G3S. So at G3S, we just don't believe building a sustainable future, but it means building the right skills for the future. So to everyone who has joined today's session, I just wanted to inform that G3S also providing some professional courses, and also we have some courses for students. For students, we have free courses. You guys can go visit our website, g3s.org. So those courses are free for students. And if any professionals, any professional looking to strengthen their knowledge and advance their career, we also offer advanced paid training and certification programs. So that will provide deeper technical and practical knowledge. So if you are a student considering a career in sustainability, or a professional looking to strengthen your ESG and sustainability profile, I encourage you to explore the learning opportunities available through G3S. So I will also, like I said initially, I will also send you guys details on email post this webinar, and this webinar recording will soon be available on our YouTube channel. So please go subscribe our YouTube channel, and also follow us on our social media handles. And with that, guys, we have reached the end of today's session. I would like to sincerely thank Mr. Antonios Voulades for joining us as our special guest speaker and sharing his valuable sustainability perspective and experience. A very big thank you to Mr. Satyapal Singh for sharing his vision, insight into evolving ESG and climate landscape. And thank you to Mr. Praveen Kumar Devaka for taking us through the G3S ESG and climate tech platform and demonstrating how sustainability intelligence can translate it into practical digital solutions. And most importantly, thank you to every participant who joined us today. Your time, your questions, and your interest in sustainability are what makes these conversations meaningful. So I hope today's webinar has given you not only new information, but also new ideas, new perspective, and new possibilities for how you can approach ESG, climate action, and sustainability in your organization or career. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining the webinar. Hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you.